Some other areas for consideration. Governments, especially in democracies, are highly at risk from artificial intelligence, whether it's fake requests, fake news items, deep fake imaging, those sorts of things. Those challenges are hitting political campaigns now, and it's going to get more sophisticated. AI is being used more and more in political campaigns, and AI will be used more and more to counteract the negatives and the bad things within political campaigns. Before we move on past political campaigns, any questions or comments?
Since all are muted, I request anybody who has any questions, please put it in the chat and that can be taken up at the end.
Yep. Now, we want to talk about governments very quickly. We've sort of brushed on this, but governments are going to have a major role in AI, how it gets developed, how it gets managed, and how society responds. Not only do they need to put it into their own operations, and they've got to integrate across agencies, they've got the data sharing and the data management issues, they've got staffing issues, there's government policy issues. So there's a whole bunch of work in helping government do all of that for their own needs. A lot of the services they provide around education, healthcare, infrastructure. Yep, I've seen the hand go up. I'll come to you in a moment. These services which we use will be using AI in the provision and management of these services. I'll just do supporting community and regulatory and then come back to the hand that is up. Now, governments will need to do grants. They will need to do tax changes. They will need to do payments and allowances. If we are taking 2 million people and making them unemployed because of what AI is doing, are we going to give them social welfare payments? Do we have the money to do it? Again, all the things to work through, incentives and investments, skilling, relocation of people. We know that markets will change. Will governments need to relocate people from one area of a country to another in relation to the changes that AI is bringing? These are some of the ones. And again, with regulatory, government's going to be involved with license and permits. Are you going to get licenses out of government to do certain things around AI? Surveillance, we've already talked about what China's already doing. Defense, national security, public safety. We've already seen the drones. The way prosecutions will be undertaken will change because of AI, and there will be prosecutions where AI has damaged somebody. Okay, there was Sundar, you've got a question? Yes, the cryptographic context of AI. Okay, there's two parts to this one. One is AI is used to break the algorithms that are used to encrypt information. So if AI can now makes everything unsecure, everything that you pushed through as secure before now becomes unsecure. AI will also be involved in monitoring the movement of messages, who is looking at it, what level of encryption there is, and those aspects. And that ties back a little bit to one of the earlier slides about 2030, when quantum computing comes in and a lot of the current encryptions will cease to work. So to summarize, AI is involved in analyzing, it's involved in the curation of the cryptography, it's involved in monitoring the cryptography, and AI will break the cryptography that we have based on quantum computing in 2030. So the experts tell me, and that's why there's an edict issued out of the United States to get it resolved. Okay, does that answer that question in the chat?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Beautiful. And before we move on from government services, is there anything else around the role of government, the business opportunities in helping government to talk to, any comments, any clarification sort? Okay, we can come back at the end and I'll take that silence as we can move on. All of this AI stuff and all of this transformation is going to create uncertainty, and we live with it now. And some people are better at it and other people less with it. We've talked about the crime aspects coming from AI, of the scams, the bribery, the blackmail, but there's the emotional side that is going to come through, which as a society, we will need to manage, because if more people are getting their money stolen, more people are getting their lives disruptive, the law enforcement agencies can't keep up. How do we respond? Now, there's going to be quite a bit of disruption. There's going to be loss of services, loss of funds. We've already had Australian banks try to do mortgage approvals in a totally automated process. And what they did is they only looked at a subset of liabilities rather than a customer's total liabilities. They lent them money that they couldn't pay back. The regulators have intervened. They've given them fines and say, manage your AI better. But there's going to be a lot of disruption that comes with AI. We've seen the first strikes around AI with Hollywood. We know there's more to come. We've already seen protests at G20 summits and G7 summits around AI. And there's going to be a question around what level of disobedience comes into society, what is acceptable, and how we manage it. We look for leadership, and I'm not making any bias here on any politician of any political party or persuasion, but we see the media coverage every day where people are dissatisfied with leadership, they're dissatisfied with the messaging, they're feeling left out, there's a lack of empathy, they don't believe people because it's no longer credible, and people feel insecure. And then governments, how are you going to manage it? Governments, right or wrong, are driven by vested interests. How do we manage that through? How do we educate? How is safety going to be guaranteed? And how is security going to be assured? Now, let's not leave on a negative one. I'm going to pause. There's two new messages in the chat. Joseph, you've written yes in the chat. And thank you for that one. Expert discussion here. Great insights into AI. Now, I want to do a couple of quick slides. Then I'd like to go back, if Bargo's available, and do the chat GPT session, and then throw it open to more conversation. Mr. Chairman, we've got time to do that?
Yeah, let's take another 10-15 minutes because people are saying it's very interesting.